Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Wednesday, February 1st slate of NBA action. I'm super excited to dive into it. The first day of February, and due to it being the first day of February, we got some good stuff coming. We're going to be trying the ladder challenge, the infamous $10,000 to $10,000 ladder challenge. Shout out COS. I have already contacted him just to make sure that it was okay and that there was no conflict in it. I wanted to make sure that he was cool with it. This is where I got the idea from, so I'm not saying I'm being original, but we are going to put a little bit of a twist on it. I'm trying to decide if I'm either going to do only same game parlays or if I'm going to do just sides and totals, because I've been really profitable with sides and totals. So I'm trying to decide which one of the two, but I'm going to keep it in one of those two spectrums just to be a little bit different, be a little bit more unique. But regardless, before we go ahead and dive into that, I did just want to go ahead and say we are now currently on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. And normally this would be a spot where I go ahead and give a shout out to our members, but I actually ended up changing our membership system. So if you guys were a member here on the channel, you guys are going to have to go ahead and basically re-sign up for a membership. I went ahead and bumped down the price. I had it up at $4.99, and it really just wasn't worth $4.99. I'll be completely honest. There was just no reason for it. So I did bump it back down to $2.99, which is where I originally started it at. So if you guys are interested in the membership, we only have one as of right now. I'll go ahead and flash it up here on the screen, but we only have the one membership. If you guys are interested in becoming a member, though, you can go ahead and hit that link down in the description down below, or you can go ahead and click that join button. You guys can join in both of those spots. But regardless, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. We got a lot of new stuff coming here for you today, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So we did end up having, for our first official play of the day, we had the Paul George over 23.5. This was our one loss of the day. Paul George only finished with 16. I definitely thought this was a great spot versus the Bulls. Kawhi Leonard was the guy instead. It was not Paul George, it was Kawhi. So we ended up missing on that one. And then we did have the Miami and Cleveland under 210. This one, I knew that this line was low, but realistically, I knew that they were trying to tell us that this game was going to be very low scoring, and it finished right at 197 points. Didn't even break 200. Really didn't even have to sweat about this one. So this one ended up working out. Then we had the Lakers plus 2.5 versus the Knicks at minus 110. They definitely tried to make it interesting. That is for sure. They tried to make this game very, very interesting, but sending it into overtime. But once overtime kicked in, LeBron and Anthony Davis and the Lakers, they just ended up showing out, and they ended up coming through for us in the very end, beating the Knicks outright by 6. So it ended up working out for us. Ended up going 2-1 on our plays. That's 3 straight winning days. Let's go ahead and try to make that 4. We need to stay hot. We've been good, but we need to definitely stay hot. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into our official plays as of today. So for our first official play of the day, we're going to be taking the Grizzlies minus 5.5 here versus the Blazers at minus 110 odds. Now I know the Grizzlies, they have struggled a little bit. They are coming off of a win last game versus the beat up Indiana Pacers right now, but before that they had lost 5 straight. So they had technically lost 5 of their last 6 games. But let's not forget that before those 5 games, they went on an 11-game win streak. So this Grizzlies team is still a very good team. They were just going through a little bit of a stretch, and I think they're starting to trend back up in the right direction. Memphis is also 15-8-1 against the spread at home this year. One of the best teams at home this year. It's like them and the Golden State Warriors, and they are really just whoever is at home between those two teams, you normally want to take them. Portland, not necessarily the greatest road team either. 12-13 against the spread on the road this year. And these two teams have already played this year. Grizzlies did only end up winning by 5, but I think they do end up winning by 6 or more in this game. And the Grizzlies, when they are at home, this is a team that you want to take. They score the 4th most points per game at home. They allow the 5th fewest points per game at home, and they are 1st in defensive efficiency, not over the course of the entire season, but also at home. This Grizzlies team at home is a spot that you want to target. In Portland, they do score 11 fewer points per game on the road this year, and they're 26th in defensive efficiency. So when it comes to the points per game, they're just not as great of an offense on the road, and versus a good defensive Grizzlies team, that could be scary. That could definitely get you in some trouble. So I really do think this is a pretty good spot to target here for our first official play of the day. Grizzlies -5.5 here versus the Blazers at -110 odds. Now for our second official play of the day, we are going to be taking the Warriors and the Timberwolves over 239.5 at -110 odds. Now I know this number it seems to be pretty high, especially with how well the Minnesota Timberwolves have been playing. But you got to look at who they're going up against. They're going up against the Golden State Warriors, who are 18-5-1 to the over on the road. One of the best records when it comes to the over on the road this year. Golden State is also second in points per game, so the second best offense in all of basketball. Minnesota is 11th. So you're looking at teams that one is number 2, one's 11, just outside the top 10. So some very high scoring offenses here. Minnesota also does score 5 more points per game at home this year, and they are 19th in points allowed. So it's not like they're a tremendous defense. I know that they picked things up here recently, but you're looking at a guy like Rudy Gobert. Gobert is listed as questionable. So with him being questionable, I don't think he plays. It was kind of a random thing on the injury report. They just kind of put it out there. So if he doesn't end up playing, of course, that's going to help us. But Golden State Warriors, they're 26th in points allowed. So obviously I would never touch this line if they are at home. But on the road, they still give up a ton of points. They give up 9 more points per game on the road. So you're talking about a team that is an elite defense, but on the road they give up 9 more points per game to opposing teams. I think that's a pretty good spot. Golden State Warriors are also 16th in defensive efficiency on the year and 27th on the road. So that's a pretty drastic drop-off. You're talking about 11 spots in defensive efficiency depending on where they're at. Yeah, that's kind of scary. And Minnesota is 11th in defensive efficiency and 16th at home this year. So that's not quite as much of a drastic change, but that is still a stat that goes in our favor. So I really do like this one here for our second official play of the day. Warriors and the Timberwolves over 239.5 at -110 odds. Now for our third and final play of the day, we are going to be taking Tre Jones over 12.5 points here versus the Sacramento Kings at -115 odds. Now Tre Jones has struggled here recently. He has gone under in 4 straight games and hasn't even broke double digits. But this line is still set to 12.5. So this is one of the most perfect matchups that Tre Jones could draw. You're looking at a guy that has gone over in 2 straight here versus Sacramento, versus a Sacramento team that allows the 9th most points per game to opposing point guards, the 9th most points per game to opposing teams, and Tre Jones is much better at home. He is averaging 13.9 points per game at home this year. If he hits his average, we win this bet. So that is something that I really did want to go ahead and target as well. He only averages 2.6 three-pointers attempted per game, which definitely works in our favor because Sacramento, they allowed the 3rd most points per game in the paint. So they give up a ton of paint points. We all know they don't have a whole lot of interior defense. So if Tre Jones can get in there, shoot his little floaters, his little layups, I do think that we see a pretty big night here out of Tre Jones. And if he can knock down one of those threes that he does end up shooting, he averages 2.6. If he can knock down one of those, I think we're looking for a good night. So I really do like this one. The over-under is set to like 240, I believe. It's pretty high. So I do like this one. I think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. I like a ton of overs in this game. So that is going to be our third and final play of the day. Tre Jones over 12.5 points here versus Sacramento at -115 odds. Now I'm going to talk about a heavy lean that I did have. I do like the Rockets +5.5 at home versus the Thunder at -110. This line is so trappy. They want you to take the Thunder, and I do think that the Rockets come out with this one because there is no reason that the Thunder should not be favored more than that. The Thunder have been a really good cover team, but anytime that they are a road favorite, they're 0-3 against the spread, and they're not very good when they are a favorite just in general. The Rockets, on the other hand, are missing Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr., 2 of their best players, and they're still only 5.5 point dogs. I think the Rockets end up winning this one. So I would just be careful if you are going for the Thunder. I would be careful about this one. I know that these teams are not very good, but the Thunder should be at least, especially with SGA on the floor, and Josh Giddey, and Jalen Williams, and all of these pretty good players, they should be at least 7.5 point favorites. So the fact that we're getting 5.5, I do think the Rockets end up taking this one. So that is a heavy lean for me. Rockets +5.5 versus the Thunder. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. When it comes to the ladder, it will be posted as a YouTube short, so make sure you guys do go ahead and check that out later. It will probably also be posted on my Twitter as well, so make sure you guys do check out both those spots. But that is going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.